Last time, on Fissure's Initiative Short Stories, our heroes consulted with King Durzin and asked if he had a safe place to store valuable items.
Yes, the Royal Vault.
He led them to a secret chamber. Inside was a large door with several locks.
What are you storing?
These.
Ume held out the chicken and kalimba, while Melvin produced the iron and the broken glass bottle. Durzin raised a curious eyebrow.
It's a long story.
There's something I need to tell you two. Someone told Queen Aliquailas that you were responsible for the attack on Parphylax. The Elven Kingdom has declared war on us. You are fugitives, and they want us to deliver you to them.
Melvin shifted uncomfortably while Ume took up a fighting stance. The king held up a hand.
I'm not going to, though. I was hoping for a diplomatic solution. Can we speak to the Elven Queen? I suppose we could try to arrange a meeting, but I insist on being in the room to help keep the peace.
King Durzin spoke with his royal magicians, and they communicated with their elven counterparts. A few minutes later, Durzin informed the party that they will be teleporting to the queen. The trio stepped into a room with runes all over the walls. With a flash of light, they were teleported to a room they've never been in. A few guards escorted them to the royal chambers, where Aliquailas, queen of the elven nation of Fissure, sat in an elegant throne. She smiled and nodded as the party was led into the room.
It's a pleasure to see you again, Durzin. I do wish we met under better circumstances.
The dwarven king bowed.
Likewise, Your Highness. I have brought these two immortables here to make their case in person.
He gestured to them as he stepped back. Melvin and Ume bowed.
Your Highness, it was not us who attacked Parphylax. It was Dervius of the Storms, another immortal. We consider him an enemy. In fact, we might soon be capable of killing him, although we might still need some help. He's hiding on Mount Zemesius.
The queen examined him from her chair. A deep well of intellect sat behind her crystal blue eyes. She turned her gaze to Ume.
And you?
The village elder is the guy pissing everyone off. The first thing he did to the immortal goblin was stab him in the head, and then the scary dwarf guy flew into town and zapped everybody, including him.
Ume pointed at Melvin.
It seems the village elder has some explaining to do.
Your Highness, there's also this.
Melvin withdrew the black card. He handed it to a guard, who handed it to the queen.
What is this?
Dervius handed us that card, asking us to join him. He said it could only be used once, and you need only speak his name. We don't even want it.
She spoke his name and held it up to her lips.
Zervaeus, we're coming for you.
With the flash of light, the card disappeared. She nodded and smiled at the party.
Fasas will lend you aid. You are no longer fugitives. When you lead your assault on Mount Zemesius, we will fight at your side.
King Durzin bowed.
It's settled then. We're all in this together. I believe these two have some loose ends to tie up at the moment, but we'll be in contact.
The queen nodded to a guard, and they were led back to the teleportation room and transported back to Jan Cardu. King Durzin dusted off his hands.
Well, that went well. What's next on your agenda?
I think we'll be summoning Kazuko next.
King Durzin nodded.
You know where to find me if you need any further assistance.
The trio exchanged bows.
We should check on the house and the rest of our compatriots.
Checking on the house, they found it to be lavishly decorated with magical wall torches, beautiful paintings, luxurious furniture, exotic plants, and an exquisite statue of Zalumoga, the goddess of hate.
Damn, we got a nice house.
There was an emerald bong in the shape of a cactus on a table and a brand new TV in the corner of the room. The Buenas Bebidas regional sports ball game was on. The Raja crew Crazy Spiders were up against the Wirjanek Cactus crew. She packed the bowl and lit it. Taking a few puffs, she blew an amazing smoke ring. Melvin checked his lockbox. He found a small fortune as well as a note from his employees that read, "Business is good." He glanced around and noticed someone was missing.
Has anyone seen Setsuko?
After asking a few guards, they determined she had left the city earlier that day. Ume, with her tracking abilities, followed her trail a ways east of town. They found her by herself in the mountainous desert. She seemed to be concentrating on something.
Fair lady, Is something amiss?
I'm trying to see what abilities I have. I am one half of the dragon goddess. I should be able to do something neat, right?
Melvin sat and watched, while Ume cheered her on from the sideline. As the afternoon sun beat down on the group, Setsuko suddenly shapeshifted into a terrifying dragon. She roared and screamed in a combination of surprise and horror. She spit flames as she shouted, scorching the earth around her.
Oh my god, help!
Peaches!
Oh my god, so cool!
After much yelling and confusion, everybody calmed the fuck down.
Are you still... you?
Yes, it's me!
Ume stared at Setsuko, starry-eyed and her mouth agape.
Can you teach me how to be a dragon?
Ume continued to stare and whispered under her breath.
Awesome.
Can you change back? We cannot take you back to the city looking like that.
Melvin watched as Setsuko concentrated. Ume, still in awe, sat and wondered what raining fire down on her enemies would feel like. After a few intense minutes, Setsuko shapeshifted back into her half-elven form. They collectively breathed a sigh of relief and returned to Yankardu. After making sure Setsuko was situated, they retrieved the kalimba from Durzin's vault and headed to the middle of nowhere. It was small and wooden, with a few metallic tines across the top that hung down. A skull was carved into the oaken instrument with the sound hole where its mouth would be. The words, "The End," were sculpted in cursive on the back face of the instrument. Melvin and Ume exchanged nervous glances as the elven wizard plucked a single note. The air chilled as a heavy fog rolled in. An eerie silence hung in the air, and darkness overtook the land. Ume spotted her first, a lone figure draped in an ornately decorated green shawl over her head, which matched her piercing emerald eyes, a black skirt down past her knees, a pair of wooden geta, white socks, and a white long-sleeve blouse. A skull was painted onto her face. She appeared to be a young woman in her mid-20s.
Such annoyingly burdensome creatures you are.
She eyed the duo warily, seemingly transfixed by the kalimba.
It was tremendously brave and foolish of you to summon me here.
She approached our heroes. Although she did not seem threatening, the duo felt as though they were in grave danger. Melvin took Like Mendez out of his backpack and dropped him.
Please take this runaway god as payment.
Kazuko blinked a few times, looking somewhat confused and suspicious of the duo.
It's that simple to appease me, you think? Stop wasting my time and tell me what you want.
We are trying to kill Dervius of the Storms.
She tilted her head and smirked, suddenly amused.
And you two think you are qualified for the job?
I mean, we haven't tried yet.
Don't bother. You can't. Not without this.
She withdrew a dagger from her sleeve. It looked like a normal, run-of-the-mill dagger with a wooden handle.
A dagger?
The means to end him, and any other abomination of your ilk.
Ume, with a bow, took the dagger and eyed it.
That's it? We don't gotta do anything for it?
No, you don't have to do anything for it. Just use it to kill him.
If you could have killed him this whole time, why didn't you?
She stared at him with a mixture of disbelief and frustration.
Are you daft? It's a wonder you've evaded capture this long.
The goddess paused, looking irritated and slightly embarrassed.
He's from the wages of sin. If I so much as get near him, he'll shatter me with that infernal spell. That's where you come in.
Are you sure you want nothing in return for this dagger?
Kazuko shook her head. She was feeling less nervous about these two. They didn't seem like the types of people who normally seek out her kalimba for evil purposes. She briefly recollected all the atrocities she'd been forced to commit. Wanting to stay focused, she pushed the memories down.
I want nothing. It's imperative that he stopped. I don't know how he's promoting the creation of Immortables, but it cannot continue.
She nodded to Ume.
I see you have a seed from the Tree of Life. After Dervaeus is slain, you must plant the seed. This will reset the flow of life, thus halting the birth of more immortals.
What will happen to us?
You go on living as you are, still immortal.
And there's nothing you want? Money? Pizza? A big old bag of weed?
Kazuko couldn't help but smile, although there was still a trace of sorrow in her eyes.
There's nothing you can do for me.
What do you mean?
The goddess hesitated. Suddenly looking shy, she turned her head away, uneasily.
It may be hard to believe, but I used to be a school teacher. I do miss teaching the young children.
Aha! Then we've found our next quest. We'll try to arrange a position for you in a school.
Kazuko shook her head.
That's impossible. Iematarus, Senyutin, and I have detained the other gods. I will not stray from my duty.
Are there no other gods you trust?
Kazuko thought for a moment.
Teodana, but that would be assuming she is willing to share in our responsibility.
Cool, we'll just find her and ask. Where is she?
The Napping Dragon in Bartolomeo. Her artifact is a beer mug that hangs from the hook above the bar.
Pears, you mean to tell me a beer mug is a holy artifact? Actually, that makes sense. That checks out.
Well, duh. What else could be more worthy?
Kazuko giggled, then nodded.
I wish you luck on your journey.
She picked up the sleeping god by his collar and threw him over her shoulder. She turned to walk away, but was interrupted.
Wait,
Ume ran to Melvin and took the kalimba.
do you want this back?
Kazuko looked astonished. All throughout history, terrible people have used their kalimba against her, and now this pixie was offering it to her. She smiled and nodded. Ume handed her the kalimba. The goddess plucked a few notes and bowed. The fog thinned as the temperature rose back up. The call of birds began to echo across the land, and Kazuko faded away into rays of sunlight as the skies cleared.
Okay, let's go.
Hold on a moment, Ume. We should check in with Durzin and see if there's anything we can do for him. He's been very gracious to us.
Oh yeah, let's go see what he needs.
Our heroes traveled back to Yankardu and spoke with Durzin. There had been reports of a nightmare terrorizing a small village by the river to the east. They went back to their house to find Melvin's employees worshipping the statue of Zalumoga. Satsuko sat in a chair nearby, eyeing the effigy intensely.
Hey, you okay?
Satsuko seemed to snap out of her stupor.
I'm fine. Why?
Why don't you come with us? We must do battle with an evil creature who torments the townsfolk.
She stared into space for a moment and then slowly nodded.
Yes, I will accompany you.
The trio rode out on the giant pillbugs, hunting for the horrific beast. During the night, as they neared a crossroad, the monster emerged from the forest beside the dirt road. Flames licked the air around its nostrils as it huffed angrily. A fierce neigh reverberated throughout the thick forest, and its fiery gaze turned to the party. The duo took up fighting stances, but Setsuko, seemingly possessed, reached out with her hand as she stepped towards the fearsome creature. The animal calmed as she rubbed his muzzle. With her druidic knowledge of nature, Ume grew suspicious of Setsuko. She leaned in to Melvin and whispered.
I thought she was a good guy.
Melvin replied, trying to keep his voice equally quiet in a pathetic manner.
She's not? Sorry. Physically incapable of whispering over here.
Nightmares gravitate to evil people.
Melvin thought for a moment and then stepped forward.
Setsuko?
She turned to the elven wizard, still in her trance-like state.
Yes?
His eyes narrowed as he spoke to her.
How do you suppose we should handle this threat?
She turned to the nightmare and whispered into its ear. With a chuff, it turned and ran into the woods.
It has been handled. He will not bother anyone anymore.
Melvin shrugged.
Then I suppose the threat has been neutralized. Let's inform King Durzin.
The party rode back to Yankardu and told the king that the danger had been eliminated. They received a decent amount of gold for their efforts. They escorted Setsuko back to the house and found Melvin's employees still worshipping the statue of Zalumoga.
I don't like this.
She said, scanning the dwarves. Even Setsuko seemed transfixed by the sculpture.
Everything will probably be fine. We should see if Queen Aliquilus needs anything done.
The duo used a teleportation room to travel to Quel'Thalas and asked the elven leader if she needed anything done.
I do. There's an undead infestation in Dusky Beach. The town has been abandoned for over a century, but we cannot allow them to gain a stronghold there. If you would be so kind, could you dispose of them? I will pay you for your efforts. We can provide you with transportation.
Our heroes, being teleported there, quickly destroyed the skeletons wandering around the ruined city. While exploring the bathhouse, they found a mysterious portal. Ume stuck her head in. She saw fire, brimstone, and demons. Slightly panicked, she withdrew her head.
Dude, I think that's hell.
Melvin inspected the portal and then stuck his head in for a peek. A demon saw him and waved. The elven wizard pulled back.
Tomatoes!
Tomatoes are a fruit?
Maybe they're peaceful demons.
The duo jumped into the portal. They entered what seemed to be some sort of restaurant. A demon beckoned them in.
Hello, what can I get you? The special is fresh.
Do you have any chicken nuggets?
The demon's eyes shifted dubiously.
Why, sure we do.
The demon emptied a bag into a metal basin filled with hot oil. It sizzled as it began to cook. Melvin sat at the counter on a bar stool.
What is this place?
Oh, first time? Well then, this meal's on the house. Welcome to Vaucunuil. You are currently in the first level of hell.
And why is there a portal leading to Dusky Beach?
Razielos likes to vacation there sometimes.
The demon set the plate of chicken nuggets in front of the pixie. She immediately began eating.
What does he do in Dusky Beach?
The demon shrugged, while Ume hacked up a bone.
Probably take baths, watch the sunset, who knows?
What meat is this?
She said, inspecting a chunk. An eyeball blinked open and stared at her.
It's demon meat.
Ume shrugged and ate the rest.
Does he mean us any harm?
Oh no, he's more of a party guy and less of the fighting type.
Ah, then I think we will have no quarrel with him.
Melvin nodded to Ume as she gulped down the rest. They exited the portal just as Ume's tummy began to groan. They messaged Quel'Thalas for transportation and were sent back to Yan Kardu. They checked the house again to find the dwarves and Setsuko still obsessed with the statue. They found Rocco asleep in his hammock and consulted him for advice.
Kind sir, we fear Setsuko has strayed from the path of virtue. She's begun worshipping a statue of an evil goddess, and has recently befriended a nightmare. This place may be unhealthy for her.
This isn't good. Maybe I should bring her back to her home. I will keep her safe.
The party confronted Setsuko. She still seemed in a haze, but agreed.
One more thing, Rocco. Can you think of anybody who might be able to help us in our fight with Dervius?
He stroked his long, crumb-ridden beard, which is unusual for a halfling. The beard, not the crumbs.
One of the finest warriors I can think of was Tepachi. If anyone's up for a tough fight, it'll be her.
Guys, I don't think I should have eaten those chicken nuggets.
Where can we find this Tepachi?
She's probably with Sirsha in Kolgaka. They own a restaurant there.
They don't serve you demon meat, do they?
Ume said, struggling not to vomit.
We have our next task then.
Will our heroes be able to find Tepache? Is Setsuko's evil just a phase? And is it okay for there to just be a portal to hell? Find out next time on Fissure's Initiative Short Stories.